Hi, my name is David Shield and I'm one of the senior software engineers working with Team Cowbell on API Manager. Today I'm going to present method level authorization, which is a feature enhancement to the API key security device in API Manager. Before I begin the demo, I just want to outline the topology I have set up. I've already logged into the gateway manager here. So I have an admin node manager running locally. I've set up one group and in that group I have one API manager enabled gateway called nav1. And I also have a Cassandra server running. Everything is running locally on my laptop. Okay, so should be able to begin. So what I'm going to do is log into the API manager as API admin. And one of the first things I'm going to do is I am going to create a new organization. And enable API development. I also want to enable the application scopes, which are found under settings and API manager settings. So by enabling this will allow us to specify scopes at the application level. While I'm at it, I'll create a new app, add it to my organization, and I'll create an API key which we'll use later on when we're testing our API. I should point out here that there is an application scopes section which appears once you enable the application scopes under the API manager settings. This section will appear. Okay, so now I'm going to import a backend API. For the purpose of the demo, I'm going to use PetStore. Okay, that was imported successfully, and next I'm going to virtualize that API. And for the inbound security, I'm going to select API key. So you'll notice here there are two new fields for the API key security device. One is scopes must match, which can be any or all, and a comma separated list of scopes. So for the first test, I'm going to leave the scopes blank just to demo the API key security device working as it used to. So I'll just apply that. Actually, before I test, I need to grant API access to my app. And I'll just grab the API key. Okay, so we're going to invoke the find pets by status method. And as you can see, we get a 200 OK and a response. Okay, so now if we define a scope for application, and we go back, we should still be able to invoke this method simply because we haven't defined any scopes for the API key security device on the API, so it should still work as normal. And if I define the scope now for the API key security device, and we apply and retest. It should still work. And we do indeed get a 200 OK. Now if we want to demo a negative test, if we edit the API key security device and we specify a scope that hasn't been defined at the application level, so app.foo, we click OK, apply, and now try and invoke the same method. We get a security failure. Okay, so now if we consider we want to define more fine-grained scopes, for example CRUD-based scopes. If we have a look down to our API, we see the method that we've just been invoking, find pet by status, which is a get. There's also get pet by ID, which is also a get. So both of those methods would fall under the umbrella of a read in the CRUD sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a security profile called read, and we're going to add an API key security device, and we're going to define a scope called app.read. And apply. So now under inbound security for the per method overrides, if we add get pet by ID and find pet by status, we can add the inbound security profile that we've just created. Okay, so now if we try and invoke either of those two methods, so we'll try find pet by status again. We get a security failure, and the reason we get a security failure is because we haven't defined app.read for our application. So now if we go back, and define the scope app.read for our application. Now if we go back to our front-end API and try and invoke the same method again, we'll see that we now get a 200 OK. And the last thing I want to point out is under API catalog, if we browse, say, find pet by status, and under the authentication supported section, you can see the scopes and the scope matching that have been defined for that particular method. And that concludes the demo. Thanks.